And we are now live.
Yay.
Hello, peeps. We are live. And Joanne has a place to go, so we're going to just roll right into this, okay? If you two can mute yourselves until I introduce you, that would be a beautiful thing. You know how to mute, right? Not okay, there they are. Okay, let's begin in 3, 2, 1.
Hello? Are you ready? Then we'll begin.
Holy smokes, when I asked for the voice of the people, boy, did I get it this week. Wait till we get to this topic. You are here on Monday Morning Catholic, episode number 81.
6:30 Monday morning. I'm here hiding in my bed. A song plays on my alarm clock as I cover up my head. Somewhere in the distance, I remember
Mondays are just like that, but wow. I have to say, this Monday I am very energized by what I saw on Facebook this past week. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Monday Morning Catholic. I am your host and moderator, Joanne Mercier, Director of Faith Formation at Saints Martha and Mary Parish in Lakeville, Massachusetts. And as you can see, if you are watching, it's Ladies' Day today. It's Ladies' Monday morning. Because Stephen went to a wedding. So here we are. First and foremost, we have our friend Linda Reed from St. Thomas's Parish in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing surprisingly well for a Monday morning.
Yes, but it's not any Monday morning, is it? You're on your way to vacation.
I'm on my way to vacation. Yay!
Lucky you. And next to her, we have Nancy Smith from St. Truth and St. Christopher Parishes in Tiverton, Rhode Island. Good morning, Nance. How you doing?
I'm good, Joanne. Good morning. Good morning, Linda. Vacation? I didn't hear that.
Yep, she's going on vacation.
Well, it's not like I'm going to anywhere exotic. We're going to visit family.
You're going to family. That's best of all.
Yeah, we're going to Maryland. Maryland in August.
Is
Then we're going out to Colorado to see my husband's family.
just as warm, or
It's warm, but it's dry.
okay, yeah, it's this.
Colorado can be very warm.
Yeah, it's this.
But if you get tired of being warm, you can go straight up the Rocky Mountains and you can find snow. So,
Still in August, really?
oh, yes. One year we went up Pikes Peak on a tram railroad, and we started out on the ground, on the the ground level where the houses are, in t-shirts. And fortunately, my sister-in-law had enough sense to tell us to bring coats.
Good thing.
And yeah, by the time we got to the top of Pikes Peak, it was a full-blown blizzard.
Wow.
Yeah, we were there with coats. As a matter of fact, I bought a hat while I was up there.
Oh, jeez.
It was so darn cold.
Wow.
They must make a killing in snow clothes at the top of Pikes Peak.
So
Wow.
it was really a palpable difference. And it wasn't just some flurries. The wind was blowing and the snow, you couldn't see.
Jeez.
There was no view because everything was snowed in. Anyway.
Wow.
But
Well,
that's where we're going.
Our little hill here in New England, known as Mount Washington, doesn't have a disparate temperature grade like that. However, I think the coldest I've ever been, because we can only usually go up in the summertime, maybe 35 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 80 on the bottom, it's 35 at the top usually.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that.
No, you can see snow on the top of the Rockies all summer long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, have a great couple of weeks, because we are not going to see you for a
I
couple.
will miss you all. I really will.
Yeah, sure she will.
But I just need to connect with the fam,
Absolutely.
Oh, I know that. But And Nancy, you and I aren't going anywhere, but you're not going to be here next week either.
No, next week we have our parish feast, and as employee, I will be there for the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that well.
Yes.
I know that routine well. So have fun. It really is a lot of fun if you're in.
It is a lot of fun.
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, correct?
Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. Yes.
Yep, in Tiverton. They're on Stafford Road.
265 Stafford, St. Teresa Church. Come on down.
Come on,
Yeah.
and the mulassadas are always good.
Yeah.
And the shrimp Mozambique.
Oh.
Oh yes, they have a wonderful pit crew over there. That's
it. I haven't had anything that I don't care for.
What is that?
Over there? They're a bunch of great cooks, that's for sure.
They are.
Well, I'm going for the crab cakes in Maryland.
Have a few
Okay.
things. I love crab cakes. And Stephen won't be here with us again next week because he's installing his new pastor.
Yes. Well, he's not installing
Okay.
it,
Well, whoever.
but he's got to be there to provide the music.
Exactly. So next week,
Who do you have?
well, I'm not saying yet.
You have to tune in and listen.
That's right. You have to tune in and find out who I could ever get to replace these three.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well,
No.
phone book.
How about a trained monkey?
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Speaking of replacing, no. But and I don't want to say speaking of trained monkeys, but but I do want to plug another show because they have been so wonderful to us in plugging our show, The Catholics Next Door. Greg and Jennifer Willits.
Yay.
They're a lovely show, and I think it still should. They've been having this discussion over the last couple of weeks as they come up to their 100th episode as to whether or not they should change the name of their show.
Oh,
Reason being because they feel they would get a bigger audience and a more diverse audience if they took Catholic out of their name. So when it's searchable, you know, they would get other people. Well, maybe because we're Monday Morning Catholic, I don't know. I kind of sent some feedback to them, kind of like, no, I don't think don't do it. You know, Catholic is fine because you do see and talk about so many things. They're not sitting there talking. They're not niche like we are. We're kind of niche here because we talk about homilies and scripture and ritual. So we've got a little niche audience going. But they're a much broader audience, but they happen to see everything through a Catholic perspective. So when I sent my feedback, of course, Greg was gracious enough to plug our show. So if you're new here,
Nice.
welcome. If you're new here to us, welcome. We hope we won't bore you too much, but we do have a specific agenda that we do talk about. We're that niche little show, and we talk about the previous weekend's liturgy, thus the title Monday Morning Catholic, you know, like Monday morning quarterback. And if you ever look sometimes at the titles of our show, they always kind of sometimes address something else in pop culture, like this week's title. Let's see if somebody next week can tell me what I was parroting with this title. Okay, I already know what it is. It's called Bread and Funerals. So any of you who happen to be fans of certain TV shows might know where that came from. So and believe me, when we get to the topic, you'll understand why. So we're going to look at the previous weekend's liturgies, try to make some sense out of it, and we're going to take a look at some pop culture news that happened this week, along with the voice of the peoples. And I'll tell you, 702 people reached. What a topic we have to talk about this week. So grab your favorite beverage. Yeah, it's water.
Yeah, here, same here.
Boring.
It's a big glass of water.
Same here, because it's warm and humid here. And take a seat on your comfy couch and come along with us. So again, thanks, Greg and Jennifer. You can find them at gregandjennifer.com. Okay, you can find their show there. And evangelizers.com. That is their nonprofit apostolate that they happen to have, as well as their own show, as well as, and I'm going for the triptych here, Jennifer's show, Good Times Radio.
Ah.
Okay, so I'll put all of that information in our honorable mention segment on the website, our website, MondayMorningCatholic.net. You know, where you can send your feedback, which we have none this week. No feedback, but if you do have feedback or comments, MondayMorningCatholic.net is the website. MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com is our email place where you can send that along. Facebook.com/MondayMorningCatholic is our page, which was really rip-roaring this week. Thank you all for being there. And if you just want to talk to us, you can call us at the voice feedback line, 774-955-0659. I'll repeat all of that again at the end. All right? If we have no feedback, then let's go right to what we come here for every week.
Do you hear what I hear?
Do you hear what I hear for the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time? Boy, Ordinary Time's just flying by lately. Yikes. And we have come upon our every third year favorite story, known as the Bread of Life discourse. Yay. 4 weeks of the Bread of Life discourse, which is fine. I enjoy it. But as usual, we start, and interestingly enough, we start off with something that sort of looks like it's a precursor to the gospel. But I will give a little bit more information on it. 2 Kings 4 was our first reading this past weekend, where, now, look, I've heard everybody say this name differently.
Yeah.
All right, Linda? How do you say this name?
The prophet's name?
Yes.
Or the country or the prophet?
The prophet.
Elisha?
Now, see, maybe because I was taught by the Protestants first, but it was Elisha.
Oh.
Me. So it's a good thing, and that's where my husband got the Elisha from. Because to me, it was Elisha, not Alicia. It's another one of those tomato things.
Tomato, yeah.
But
yeah.
so was the country, too.
I think maybe the Catholics went with Elisha to differentiate him from Elijah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Elijah and Elisha sound an awful lot alike.
Right, and that's why I remember learning that in my 4 years at the Protestant Bible College, because they would always say to be very careful of saying Elijah or
Elijah. Yeah.
Right, exactly. But the name of the place was just as bad.
Yes. But the lectors got it right.
They did. They did, and the name of the place was
Baal Shalishah.
Baal Shalishar. I love that name.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing is,
That's why I'm not a lector.
Very good.
They were all 3 of them were coming. They came up to me and said, "What? How do you say this?"
Yeah. And see, the Catholics again stretch the Baal.
Yeah.
And the Protestants either say Baal, like they kind of stretch it, or Baal.
Baal. Yeah.
I've heard Baal from there as well. So, we probably are never going to know the real names until we get to the heavenly reward.
Yeah, well, I just go by what I hear my husband do. Now, my husband has studied ancient Near Eastern languages. He studied Hebrew. He studied Aramaic. So I am assuming that what he says is correct for something. So,
right. Okay.
I'd say you've got a pretty good source. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Again, we've got those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
I'd say he kind of knows what he's talking about pronunciation-wise.
He does, and I'll usually believe him.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Elisha,
or whoever, the big E,
feeds it's almost a shadowing of the actual feeding of the 5,000, which you hear in John 6. But interestingly enough, this is the very end of the book. They don't give you the information right before it, which was there was a famine in the land. Okay? And right before this, the prophet is feeding another group of people with some kind of vegetable that was poisonous. And he had them throw meat in the pot so that it would counteract and they could eat the stew. So there's a lot of food at the end of 2 Kings 4. It's the end of the chapter. So it's one of those things where if you don't know where this is coming from, there's been a famine in the land. So that's why it's like, well, what do you mean feed the people? With this? That's all we're going to feed them with?
Hey,
so,
better than nothing.
Right, exactly. Psalm 145 was the proper psalm of the day. The hand of the Lord feeds us; He answers all our needs. And we're going to see what 145 and 30. Is it 32? What? The next couple of weeks. Well,
it's
33.
This week is 145. Next week is the Lord gave them bread from heaven. I know that's the
140 part of 145, isn't it?
No, it's
33.
Else. Maybe
34th. Sorry, 34 is.
No, 34 is taste and see.
Right.
And that's for the next 3 weeks after that.
Right. Okay.
But because I'm going on vacation, guess what? We're doing taste and see for all those weeks.
And and everyone will say fine because it's a common psalm for ordinary time.
Yes.
So there you go. And the one you did this past.
The one I did today is David Haas.
Yeah, it was David Haas. I recognized it.
Yeah.
Does it have another refrain with it too?
It has 2 other ones.
Thank you. Because this one I wasn't. I remember I kept saying I know there's another refrain for this.
Yeah, there's 2 other ones. Yeah.
And Nancy, you were telling us that you did a different one.
I did a different one because I'm trying to teach the parish I want to have at least one setting of each of the common psalms in the repertoire. Currently, we don't have that on the building process.
Good.
So I taught them a version of 103, The Lord is Kind and Merciful.
Cool.
So that this week was the first week, and we'll do that I think we do that for the next couple of weeks, then we pull Taste and See in and then pull it back in.
Cool. All right. Because your common psalms, I not off the top of my head am I going to remember all the common psalms for ordinary time. I can't.
Yeah, not all of them.
103 is one of them.
Yeah, it is. And 34 is one of them. And 19 is one of them.
And 145.
27 is one of them.
And 145.
And 145 is one of them.
116? No?
No.
No.
Not 116.
No. That I'd know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you keep saying them, it's like, yep, that one. That
one is. That one's not.
That's not it. 119 is not it either.
No. 119 crops up mostly during the week.
Right. Or 88, where we bash the heads of our.
88. Yes. No. 88.
Bash the enemy's children's heads against the rocks.
Yes.
That's all I can remember about that one. I learned that from the Protestants.
Yeah.
Ephesians 4.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus. Was the second reading, which I could actually make sense out of.
Yes.
When I was called upon to read 5 minutes before Mass.
Yes.
Oh, good thing I was dressed. But
I'm glad you always come to church dressed.
Well, I came a little overdressed this week because I was going to an organ recital afterwards. So that kind of thing was like, okay, I got to get dressed for the day.
Yes.
But this one, again, we hear this as Catholics a lot about one Lord, one faith, one baptism. We've heard that, and that's something that distinguishes us as Christians.
Yeah, I like the live a life worthy of your calling, too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Reference.
And humility and all the good things that go with it.
Yes.
And then, of course, we begin the Bread of Life discourse at the beginning of John 6 with the miracle of the loaves and fishes. Now, the loaves and fishes show up in how many Gospels? All 4 or only 3 out of 4? I can't.
With John, since it's in John.
Right. It must not be in Mark. I know it's in Luke.
No, it's in Mark. It's
okay.
in Mark. Whose wouldn't it be in? Luke is big. I think it's in all of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's in all of them because this is stretched out now.
You can correct us if we're wrong, but I think it's all of them.
I'll look up my synoptics while you're talking. But I think because this one is now going to go, it's going to be a continual for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Yes.
Of course, they went with the John version.
Well, and because John has the long discourse.
Right.
And Mark being the shortest gospel, they had some weeks of ordinary time to fill in.
Exactly.
Making up the lectionary.
Right.
So they went to John and they took his long bread of life discourse because that is his institution of the Eucharist in John.
Exactly. He does not have
an institution narrative at the Last Supper.
Right. Only the 3 synoptics do, Matthew, Mark, and Luke. He has this, however, which is a beautiful explanation of just who is the bread of life.
Yes.
You know, which, again, and I bring up the Protestant aspect because this is what separates us from our Protestant brothers and sisters in the understanding of Jesus as the bread of life.
Yeah.
They look at it as remembrance, and we look at it as actual, you know.
Anamnesis.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. I was looking for that word. Glad you found it. So since
Hello, Nancy.
Hi.
He's back. I was not going to call attention to it, but hey.
Oh.
All right. So since you brought me the word anamnesis, why don't you bring me the homily from our pastor from this past weekend?
Okay. Our pastor is great. Our pastor is one of 5 brothers, and he gets a lot of mileage out of his family. He started out by saying today, growing up with my 4 brothers was never dull. Just ask my mother. One of the things that amazed me was how she was able to feed all of us. We never had name brand anything. It was the Star Market brands or other brands. He said, I didn't know there were actual Oreo cookies until I was a teenager because he said my mother would always buy the off-brand cookies. He said we had Hydrox or something that had a little smear of filling in the middle of it. And he said, but one thing we could always depend on with our dinners was bread, because our mother knew that if we ate a bunch of pieces of bread with our dinner, that we would be filled. And he also, which was not in the original script, he also said his mother was very clever in talking 4 of the 5 brothers into wrestling, because in wrestling you have to diet to make weight. And so he said...
I thought that was interesting.
He said, so I was the only one who didn't wrestle, he said. So he got to eat what his brothers couldn't. So he says, I think of this as we hear the accounts of both Elisha and Jesus in our readings. Both were given a limited amount of food for a large group, and miraculously they were able to feed those folks. Parenthetical remark, which just shows that they had to have been Italian, because if they could feed a large group with a little bit of food, they had to be Italian. Anyway, that was not part of the homily. It just occurred to me.
No, but I have to tell you, the Portuguese can also do the same.
There you go.
I know his mother is Italian, correct?
No.
Isn't.
His mother is Irish.
All right.
His father was Portuguese.
And they can boil a potato and make that potato
Yeah, they actually can do that too.
No, that parenthetical expression was mine, not his.
Okay.
Okay.
Portuguese do that too.
All right.
Man.
Okay, so both were given a limited amount of food for a large group, and miraculously they were able to feed all of them and even have leftovers. And he said, going back to my childhood, we didn't know what leftovers were in my house. He said, unless she served wax beans. Nobody liked wax beans. Anyway, both Elisha and Jesus did as a reminder of what God can do for us. We are called to offer what we have, most likely not a couple of loaves and fish, but rather offer our time, our talent, and our treasure to God. And we can be amazed as to what He will do with our offerings. Just as my mother amazed me by being able to feed and raise 5 boys, so too God can amaze us by taking our offerings and using them for the good of others. St. Paul reminds us in the second reading that we are all one body and one spirit, and that at times even though we're supposed to love one another, at times we have to bear with one another in love, because it's not always easy to get along. All of us have to respond to the different ways that God is calling us, but one thing is the same for each of us, namely that God is the one who has provided the gifts and talents with which we are blessed. We are fed weekly, not on bread and fish, but on bread and wine that is miraculously transformed into the body and blood of Christ, and this is our ultimate food for the journey.
Yep. I thought it was very interesting with the 5 brothers and the other. I mean, I can relate because but as an only child, I can't relate that much. But my mother could definitely take my father's salary.
Uh-huh.
My father worked 6 months out of the year because he worked outside as a carpenter.
Oh.
He had to take the salary 6 months out of the year and stretch it to 12.
Mm-hmm.
So she was very good, and we had the same staple every Monday was hamburger, Tuesday was Wednesday was pork chops, Thursday was hot dogs.
Yeah.
Friday actually was Chinese takeout.
Ah, right.
Saturday was probably steak again, and Sunday was some kind of Sunday dinner, of which my mother thought spaghetti was actually a Sunday meal.
It was. It is.
My mother,
Italian.
No? Am I wrong?
now I'm going to make Linda really upset here.
Oh, no.
And my mother would boil her spaghetti for half an hour.
Oh, my God.
No, it was very limp. Indeed, when it came out and hit the plate.
I'm surprised it didn't come out in a ball.
Right, and then she put the ragu on it.
Oh,
So,
my God.
I did not know much about Italian food until I went to college. So
Okay, so my husband, who is Irish, English, Scotch, and Dutch.
wow, that's a mix.
Yeah, his mother used to make spaghetti.
Okay.
By boiling elbow macaroni and putting ketchup on it.
Well, okay, that's worse than my mom.
That could be something left over from the Depression.
Depression, yeah.
That's why he thought I was a wonderful cook.
Well, understandably so. My mother was a utility cook, so when she learned something, she learned it. But my mother felt that anything that was pink or red was bad for you, so everything was brown.
Okay.
So
Spaghetti?
which is good on, I know, which is good on pork and hamburger,
Yes.
but bad on steak,
Yeah.
and some other meats. So, okay.
So much for food.
No, but this is the problem is when we're doing the Bread of Life discourse in the next couple of weeks, and this is what's going to happen. There's a lot of food talk, okay? Because it's funny in the Bible. Jesus, I think, does some of his best work around a table.
Yeah.
Okay, of food. So that's why we're going to get a lot of this. And with the one that oh, by the way, the loaves and fishes do show up in every single in every single gospel. It's Mark 6:41, 9:16, Matthew 14:13, and then John 6:1.
But the reason they choose John is because of this long discourse that comes.
It's going to be one continual for 4 more weeks. So there you go. So I had the opportunity, because I had been to an early Mass this past weekend, to take a look at the TV Mass. I always like to check the TV Mass when I can either get onto Catholic television or to our local station here in Rhode Island. I try to find one. So out of your neck of the woods, Nance.
Yes.
Because it's where you live and not where you work.
Correct.
Father Mike Racine from St. Bernard's in Assonet, Massachusetts, was the celebrant this past weekend. And he was very short. Of course, TV Mass has to be. I've done TV Mass, and it's like half an hour.
Yeah.
You got to get the whole thing in with the psalm and all the music. So it's like, okay, zip, 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 zip. he started off by saying that he came across a commentary as he was putting his homily together, and it said that if you look at these readings and you haven't had breakfast yet, you get very hungry very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's all about food and leftovers. And of course, leftovers are great because it gives people a chance to once again enjoy what was the original meal. And then he went into, of course, Thanksgiving, it's always, the turkey sandwich is a great leftover. Easter, ham sandwich is a great leftover. So he said, this is what happens. And people, for big occasions, when they host large gatherings, they do cook more food than needed. Why?
Yeah.
Their intent is to provide a lasting memory. Because people take doggy bags home with them. I mean, how many of us actually take doggy bags home with us when we go out to eat? Okay, we can do 2 meals in one. Now that's called thrifty. Also called thrifty. But again,
it's also called slower metabolism.
Yeah, that too. We're all getting to be that age. Yeah, I know. But the readings do, however, speak talk about more than memories. The first reading in the gospel really hit home for not wanting to allow anyone to go hungry, but to have food left over for another time. And of course, was this the gospel that said the 12 baskets?
Yeah.
Left over? Yeah.
12 wicker baskets.
12 wicker baskets, yes. Which are supposed to represent the 12
tribes
of Israel. So there you go. Oh, actually, I was looking for that one.
Anytime you... Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. The second reading ties in because it's not just about providing for the physical, but Paul reminds us that we are to bear through one another, through love, preserved in unity, through the bread of peace. I think I got all that right, but I had to go back about 3 or 4 times. So, who do you think God might be asking us to feed this week? Not just at our table, but out in the world. And more importantly, the leftovers of such will be enjoyed because we have done God's loving work. Very short, concise homily. But again, when it's a TV mass, you have to do that. So here's 2 ways of taking... I like the leftover theme.
Yeah.
I have not heard anyone up to now talk about leftovers when they talk about the bread, about the loaves and the fishes. They just kind of hone in on the miracle, but the leftovers are just important.
Yeah.
Just important, I think. So
it gives us more than enough.
Exactly. And we seem to have a history of leftovers because the leftovers are really supposed to go out to those who can't.
Well, that isn't it reminiscent? Yes.
Right.
Taking for those who can't be with us.
Right. Exactly. Now, you may have thought that I skipped over Nancy, but I didn't. Because poor Nancy was doing so much work this weekend. If she was going to remember a homily, it just wasn't going to happen.
It wasn't going to happen.
No.
Nope. I'll be better next week.
No, you'll be better the next time you're here, Nance.
Yeah.
I gave 2 last week, so I was up.
That's true. Right. So you're good. But we're not the only ones who hear homilies. Now, are we, good and gentle listeners and viewers? You do too. So again, we would love to know what comes out of your part of the world. Or if any homilists happen to be watching, and you know who you are, some of them anyway, please pass along your homilies to us so that we can share them with everybody else, unless you put them online, which not a lot of you do, which would be really great if you did. So what I will do this week in honorable mention is put up, even though some of these may be repetitious, there might be new people, those priests that we reference all the time in that do put their homilies online. The Concord pastor, Father Austin Fleming, of course, Bishop-elect Barron.
Yeah.
We're jumping right into
Stop for a second there, Joe.
Well, I didn't. I was like, do I talk now or what do I do? With his Word on Fire sermons, Father Darrell Millett, the Saska priest from Saskatoon. We have Father Corey Stika from the Montana dioceses. Well, Great Falls is one whole diocese, the whole place. I think Great Falls is in the diocese of the entire state of Montana, I think.
I don't know.
I may be wrong, but I'll look it up later, which I always do. And I think there are a couple of others that do this. So we will put this up for you in our section called Honorable Mentions, which is on the website, which is where I put all the links to everything if you want to know more. Okay? All right, we're going to move along right now because before we get to our voice of the people, I just gave you what the buzz.
Yeah.
And the buzz for this week, which pretty much knocked all of our collective jaws to the floor and back again, was the fact that Father Robert Barron is now Bishop-elect Robert Barron. Okay. The auxiliary, one of 3 auxiliary bishops for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. Wow.
Wow.
Was that a surprise or what?
Yeah, I was. Evidently, I wasn't the only one.
No. Yeah.
I went, they made him a what? And it's not,
Wow.
doesn't deserve
Yeah, it's true.
to be
true.
elevated to bishop. The next thing in my mind came upon everybody else's mind too, which was, and what happens to Word on Fire?
Well, it evidently came across his mind too, because he published a list of concerns that people were having, and the last one was, what happens to Word on Fire? And he said, in this technological age, he said, I can certainly get whatever it is I write, my homilies, my articles, my talks, I can get them to the Word on Fire staff, and they can put them out. So he's not worried at all.
No, he doesn't seem to be. And I think being sent to Los Angeles is better than being sent to, like Houston or something, because Los Angeles is the media capital of the country. And maybe he can do something with them.
Yeah, maybe.
I think these 3 archbishops, O'Connor, Brennan, and Bishop Barron, Bishop-elect Barron, I think they all are going to have a specific ministry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think Bishop-elect Brennan has been the Vicar General. So I think, and Archbishop Gomez's right hand. So I think he's staying in that position, frankly. Probably might take on a little bit more duties. God help the man. I feel for him. And then Bishop-elect O'Connor, who's originally from Ireland,
Well,
is going to continue what he's doing, which is ministry to the poor. Because apparently his ministry has been on the streets of L.A.
Wow.
Good. Great.
So it's one of those things where now when you bring in somebody like Bishop-elect Barron, now you're covering the part of L.A. which people might not think are covered, which are the Catholics or others on the fringe. And being a good media savvy and can get the
an evangelizer.
Yeah, he's an evangelizer. That's what he does. That's why Cardinal George gave him the go-ahead to do Word on Fire. And he has been doing that and being rector of a seminary for the past 3 or 4 years. So,
and it could have to do with it, a little bit of what you're saying. I think that perhaps possible reformatting or stronger attention to these auxiliary bishops having a specific mission.
Yes, and but I do think that this is. I'm sorry. I was going to say this might also be key, but this place happens to fall under the the Diocese of Orange, California, the new Crystal Cathedral, Christ Cathedral.
Oh.
The new Crystal Cathedral, what?
Christ Cathedral.
Yeah.
That's the Diocese of Orange, California. That's not part of the Archdiocese. So I was thinking maybe because that place was wired for media. And even in the redo, I'm hoping they're not taking a lot of that media stuff out.
Yeah.
As it would be. But I think maybe he'll retrofit Queen of Martyrs Cathedral in LA.
Don't know.
It's a very ultra modern cathedral. I've only seen the outside, not on the inside. But you know, I don't know. I don't know what his role is going to be, but it's going to be very interesting. And I think Word on Fire doesn't have anything to worry about. But I think folks were just worried that they would no longer see him.
Yeah.
Because he's been such a good face of Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very accessible. His talks and explanations are very. They're not dumbed down.
Not at all.
Not at all. But he makes the material accessible.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's delivery or whatever it is, but you know, he gives pretty sophisticated material. He makes it accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he does.
It's important.
I think that what the key to all this is that he's going to be able to continue to do that. He's doing commentary for the Pope's visit in September. He was already contracted to do that with, I think, NBC.
Oh, okay.
So I have a feeling that he's still going to be doing that.
Good.
And if he's still going to be doing Word on Fire, and there are new things coming out, I don't think the Archbishop of Los Angeles is going to say, no, I think I'd rather have you. But he is going to be a regional bishop.
Yeah.
What I remember, what our friend the Bishop Coyne was when he was becoming a regional bishop, when they were going to give him a region in Indiana, was, you know, he has some sort of governance that he has to do.
Yeah.
But it's not like where the Bish is now in Vermont, where he really wants to be with his people, and and from what I can understand, he has cut down a lot of his side projects because he does have a diocese to run.
Yeah.
He is in charge of the communications for the USCCB, and I think he'll do one or two other things, and then that he knows his limit. So he doesn't want to be an airport bishop, is what he keeps saying. He doesn't want to be an airport bishop. And I don't think Father Barron's, Bishop-elect Barron is going to be an airport bishop either. But I think he's going to be in the right place to still be seen by everybody. You know, and because of the technology we have now.
I just wish him all the best.
Absolutely.
I wish him all the best.
Somebody said he'll get his own diocese soon. I'm sitting there going, no.
Yeah, let him do what he does best.
I know. Let him. But you know, now they're going to put him on the list of, you know, he's going to get an archdiocese.
Yeah.
No, he could
put him on the fast track him.
Yeah.
A pope. You know, it's like, oh, come on, guys, just let them do their work. Okay.
Let them do what they're good at.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Exactly. And not everybody wants to be pope. Okay?
No.
No. Just let it go.
Right.
You know, just
Let it go.
Yeah, just let it go. Anyway, now, my friends,
Yes.
voice of the people have spoken. You know, and they have definitely asked us to discuss, and this was on our list because I had three different articles on the Facebook page concerning Bishop-elect Barron. And by the way, once they're named bishop, you use the title. They may not have anything else. They all have a pectoral cross, but they don't have the other signs of the office yet, but you do refer to them as Bishop-elect. I had three different articles, and it was up at about 300 or 400 reaches. This one took the cake. Okay, and I'm going to preface it with the following song.
We are young. Heartache to heartache.
Because I do not believe that
No promises.
liturgy should ever be a battlefield. Okay? And it was this particular, actually, I've got to admit, this came across to me on Friday. I read it, and I went, I don't want to touch this. On Saturday, a friend of mine on Facebook, Father Freddie Babashug from St. John of God in Somerset, Massachusetts, sent it directly to me and said, "Have you seen this?" Boy. So I said, all right, fine. Somebody wants to discuss it, so let's discuss it. Put it up Saturday morning, and by Sunday afternoon, it had reached 702 people. Okay, with shares and likes and all kinds of things. So the Voice of the People has spoken this week. This is what they want to talk about, and it was an article about a priest in Greece, New York. Okay, not the country, but down in the state of New York, who decided to stop a funeral because the family wanted a second reading after the person. Now, this is what I try to understand. The reader had read whatever reading they were supposed to read, was from the Bible, from the approved whatever, choices that we have, but then was going to launch into Ecclesiastes. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Ecclesiastes, I think it's chapter 3.
I don't know. It's
chapter 3. It's one of the.
It's turn.
Yeah, it's
a time for every season. Yeah.
There is a time for everything under the heavens. Okay,
right.
That is not an approved liturgical reading. However,
for a funeral.
For a funeral. Okay, for a funeral. Sorry, I should have said that.
It is an approved liturgical reading.
Bad me. All right, let's just rewind that back. Okay, it's not a suggested reading for funerals, but a lot of people use it. Okay, and I would never turn it down. Okay, because I think in some circumstances that isn't a very appropriate reading.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, if the Proverbs 31 woman can be an appropriate reading.
Yes.
Then I think Ecclesiastes can be an appropriate reading.
Despite the fact that the family readers usually butcher the name.
Right, exactly. Reading from the book of cyclosporin,
Yes.
Unicycle, wow.
Whatever, But so I guess because it wasn't approved, the priest asked them to, no, please stop. We need to continue. So please don't do that. Well, the father gets up of the young woman. It was a young woman who had passed away, and said, no, we'd really like to have this. Mm-hmm. And then the priest says, no, we can't have this. The mother starts crying, and now the priest says, fine, we're done. Okay, so we're done. And we're just going to move right to the commendation, and we're going to go right out. Now, I looked in my canon law, and I cannot find a specific canon that says you're not supposed to do that or you can do that. So if there are any canon lawyers out there, if you know of it, let me know, because I tried to look as hard as I could, looked in Book 4, Sacraments, can't find it. Many people are screaming that this priest was way out of line.
Well, canon or no canon, he handled it very poorly. I'm sorry.
I agree with that.
Funerals are a prime evangelical moment, meaning there are lots of people who are coming to a funeral that haven't been to church in a while. And if you make the funeral a prayerful and comforting experience, you never know. You might reach somebody.
Right.
But when, just because somebody wants to read, and it's not like they wanted Khalil Gibran. They wanted Ecclesiastes,
True.
If somebody wants a reading, like you said, these funerals are suggested readings. They're not the only readings you can have for a funeral.
Right.
And for me, it comes down to, one of the things it comes down to is advanced planning. Has the pastor met with the family? Has the family made their request known? In which case, that's a place that he can put his foot down if he so chooses, and instead of having no funeral mass be said for this person, that was the time to work this out.
Yeah.
Right. We don't know if he sat down with the family.
Right.
we don't know if it was the funeral home, which I have a big bugaboo about that.
Yeah, me too.
And my pastoral associate, Holly Clark, got up in the Facebook page and said, we sit down, we don't like the funeral homes, and I had the same problem when I was a pastoral associate, where I had to tell funeral homes over and over again, you don't give them the readings and the music, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I am representing the parish. When I sit down with these families, I'm the one who talks them through this. Okay?
I had a funeral home. I said they were one that plans with the family. I was feeling them out to see how they were doing this, and I said, "Where are you getting your music options?" "Oh, we have a flyer." I said, "Really? Would you send that to me, please?"
Yeah.
And it was a flyer from another church in another state.
Oh, geez.
Was it Catholic?
It appeared to be, but a lot of them wouldn't be the choices I would have as options.
Okay.
No.
It appeared to be.
Ave Maria during communion is nothing I would do, for example.
I would do.
For example.
But now on the other side of this, and I don't think I'm playing devil's advocate here, the family was wrong as well.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I have to say that at that point, if the priest is saying, this is not a good thing, would you please just sit down? I think for the sake of everyone there, I'd sit down.
Yeah, well, neither the priest nor the family were right.
And it's
absolutely not.
It should have been taken care of before.
Exactly. And it's this old mentality of who does this mass belong to? It belongs to all of us, folks. It doesn't belong only to the priest. It doesn't only belong to the family of a funeral or a wedding, or the bride and groom, or the person who pays for the intention on the weekend.
Yeah, right.
I want this music because it's my mass. No, it isn't your mass.
Yeah.
It's our mass. Again, we're doing this whole thing about, love it, liturgy is a battlefield, and I hate this. If you want to know what the biggest thing that I hate in 35 years of being a liturgist and a musician is when anybody uses the liturgy in front of the people of God as a battleground.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened there.
And it's sad because that's the only thing that this, aside from the loss of their loved one, this is what the family will remember.
Yeah.
And the church will take the hit, even though they were as wrong as the priest. The church will take the hit.
Of course, we're going to take the hit no matter what. We sit down with them and we try to explain. Okay, here's what we should be doing. Usually, that's when you take the hit.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's usually out of sight of everyone else.
Yeah.
You sit there and you try to explain. Here's the reading.
What the purpose.
Explain and educate.
Also,
absolutely. Yeah.
People now are they want the funeral to be like McFuneral.
Yes.
The church gives you a rich panoply of things surrounding death.
Oh gosh, yeah.
You have the wake, and nobody wants to pray at the wake. When they see the priest show up at the wake, everybody leaves.
Yep.
And that's the time.
That's the time.
Get all this stuff in.
Exactly, but I don't
want this. Let's do it now at the prayer service at the wake.
But I don't think anybody explains that to them.
No.
Exactly. Yes.
But then people don't want to take all that time, like you mentioned earlier, Nancy. Most people are opting for like the hour before the funeral, calling hours.
Yes.
And so what are you going to do? Is the priest going to go out in the vestibule and do a prayer service before the mass? The whole funeral thing is getting truncated.
And I had that particular problem because my mother wanted nothing.
Your mother wanted what?
My mother wanted nothing. She didn't even want the funeral mass, and I told her that was not an option. I said, Mama, that's not an option.
Yeah, really.
Respect your wishes, which is why I had everybody in the church an hour before.
Yeah.
And what I said was not a criticism. It is just an observation of what is happening.
Well,
and there are many reasons why.
Well, that's why Rory Cooney addressed that recently. U.S. Catholic this week came out with a survey, wanted to survey people of, what are your funeral wishes? What do you want to do with funerals? Blah, blah, blah. And I just think that in this country there is no there's no education going on to people, or whether they want it or not, on what the funeral rites are all about. The vigil, right? I mean, the rites at the point of death starts.
Yeah. Starts there, yeah.
Starts right at the point of death. Then you have the vigil of the deceased. Then you have the funeral ritual itself, and then you have the common
graveside. Yeah. Well, it's not always graveside, but the cemetery.
Right. There are 3 other places.
But now, with the preponderance of cremation, they don't always go to cemetery afterwards.
Right. Exactly.
They might go 2 weeks from now and bring the urn over.
Or Mama might stay on the shelf.
Or Mama might stay on the mantelpiece. Yes.
As Catholics.
But that's why, as the priest or the pastor, the question needs to be asked. What are your plans for those ashes after the funeral mass?
Yes.
I would be happy to help you. Let me know whatever the situation is to get them off.
The whole situation, it seems to me, and I mean, I'm on the outside of this. I don't know anybody's motivation, but the whole situation seemed to stem from either a lack of education or a lack of communication, because these things should have been taken care of before the body showed up at the church.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
No, I agree, and I think it's both. I think it's a lack of both communication and education on our part as a collective church, that we're not getting this information out until that time happens.
And I'm certainly not one to advocate, whatever the grieving family wants. I am not one to advocate that, because, as you say, it is the church's liturgy.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's a great pastoral moment, and what can be accommodated, I think, even if you're, kind of pushing the envelope, not breaking the envelope, but pushing the envelope.
Right.
If it can be accommodated, if it's scriptural, if it's,
right.
That you should, the pastoral or the pastoral team should make every effort to try and accommodate it, or accommodate something close to it.
Yes.
Because it's a pastoral moment.
It is, but it doesn't help when we have these and it's true, when we have these big state funerals.
No, that doesn't help.
And we have Chris, whoever his last name escapes me at the moment, gets up there and sings the guy's favorite song from
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the funeral liturgy, and then you bring him home as have to go with the bike.
Because they have clout when they were alive.
Exactly.
And so evidently they're going to have clout when they're dead.
And that means everybody wants clout.
Yes. Exactly.
And I can't.
Why does that leave me out? I thought we were all the same church.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why does that leave me? And that was my issue with a lot of this in the first place. Is if I said to you earlier that there was a funeral that I cantered at, and the predominance of the visitors, the guests, were from the Protestant faith, and used to coming up one after another and giving a witness to the person's life and such. But that's not what we do in the Catholic Church. And after the official eulogy and one other person, because I caught the pastor off guard, he stopped the parade, if you will.
Yeah.
And because you do it once, it's going to happen, the possibility of it again and again and again, and that's where the ritual goes out the window.
Yep.
Exactly. And again, the vigil for the deceased, that's where it's built in.
Yeah.
Yes.
You actually get
the opportunity is there. Absolutely.
At the funeral home is to gather around.
Yeah. Tell stories. Sing songs.
Not in the little corners of the room, but all together.
If the deceased's favorite song is, How Much Is That Doggy in the Window, that's the place to sing it,
There you go.
And if Doris
not for communion.
Well, mine's going to be... That's going to be mine. Anyway, but this...
Okay.
So I wanted I knew I was going to... That would get everybody. I've got new stuff again, sorry. But again, this is kind of where we are with this Voice of the People thing. We want to address these issues and talk about them because we all are involved in one way or another.
Yeah.
So this one is and this one, something may come of this because we did the wedding show, didn't we? We didn't do a funeral show, have we?
No.
Yeah, I'm thinking of something a little different. So stay tuned, because if I can do it over the summer before I go back to the grind, I'm seriously thinking about doing like a 4-part funeral.
4 parts.
Yeah. So
I could fill it up.
I'm sure you can, but taking each one of these sections as what does the church expect of us? What, you know what I mean? I think that might be, and put it out there and leave it out there for folks so that they can have a reference.
You can present that as an educational piece all by yourself and have it be phenomenal.
Yeah, because I'm very schooled in this, so and I did commendations for I've done wake services. It's the kind of stuff you do when you're a pastoral associate.
Yeah. So
I know what they're for, and I know what they're to accomplish, and I don't think a lot of people do. So
no, they don't.
And again, the priest, especially in places where the priest shortage is at its crucial point, lay people can take some of these duties and do them well. When we had Sister Mary as a pastoral associate, she used to regularly go to the cemetery. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Deacon Al, too. Yep. And 2 wakes. Yep. It's crucial to the men, especially if there are people there to help them, especially if they're the only one in 3 parishes right now. My poor boss. Please. Yeah. Prayers that we get an associate soon. Prayers we get a new associate soon. Okay. And with that, we're going to wrap this puppy up. If you have any comments about what we've talked about in Voice of the People, then please send them along. MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. You can put them up on the comment box at MondayMorningCatholic.net. You can put them up on the Facebook. Please, just don't like it. Say something. And a lot of people did, so I thank the people who actually did do that. Facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic, or if you'd like us to play it, call the feedback line 774-955-0659. Yes, I started the prayers early. Please pray for my pastor because we still don't have an associate yet. We'd really like to have one soon. But there is one thing I would like people to see if they haven't seen it up on our Facebook page, and it's a lengthy article on Christianity fading out of the Middle East. I think it's an important read for people. So if you could just please take a look at that, and you don't have to comment, but please pass it along, have other people take a look at it, because I think it's a growing problem. The bishop is always saying we should pray for the persecuted Christians. Well, if you read that article, you'll really understand why. Yeah. Okay. But other than that, I think we're ready to close this up for the week. This has been fun, ladies, and I'm going to miss you guys. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I'll miss you guys next week, but whoever I have here still won't take your place. But I actually wind up missing. I do. I actually wind up missing doing this. It's kind of, after 81 episodes, it's kind of become a part of the rhythm of my life, you know? I know, and I hope it's becoming the rhythm of everybody else's life who joins us. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I will miss you, but I will be happy to be back in 2 weeks. Good. I'll be glad to see all of you back when you get back. Please pray for somebody this week who is ill and needs your prayers, because there's plenty of people out there. We'll pray for you if you pray for us, as always. And God bless, and we will see you next week with somebody. So for now, ciao for now.